Welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome to another weekly live stream. Welcome, Denise. I was just about to type welcome in the chat, but you came on. Um, I'm doing this live on a Saturday. I usually do my lives on Sunday, but a little bit of housekeeping here, like I always do, while I let people come in the room. Give us a shout out where you're coming from, say hello. Um, But one of the things that I'm very, the reason why I'm talking to you right now on Saturday instead of Sunday is because I'm going to get involved in a project for the next 3 weeks. Hopefully, I can take you on some of this project. It's not going to be so much of a surprise. Hopefully, a surprise live stream. Some of the places we'll be going may not have very good cellular coverage, so I might not be able to do this. But the problem is that the conflict of when I normally have my live stream on Sundays, we're going to have a meeting tomorrow. Um, we actually have a group from a university coming from Canada. I forgot what the name of the university is. It's a university in Canada, and it's a group of students and professors that are coming here to San Miguel de Allende to exchange, sort of like an exchange program where they exchange how they do things here in Mexico. And at the same time, they're also going to basically the Mexican healthcare workers and nurses are going to exchange how they do things here. And the Canadians are going to exchange information on how they do things over there in Canada. And they're going to have some classes that they're going to teach on both ends. And my wife and I have had the honor of being asked to translate for the group. It's a University of Vancouver. Thank you. My wife reminded me. It's University of Vancouver, Canada. And they are actually going to be here. They're arriving, I think, tonight, late tonight, and tomorrow we have a meeting, our meet and greet. And I'm also going to try to do as much filming as I can when I'm not translating so I can put together a video. Um, it's about community service. I'm all about community service. And my wife and I decided that we're going to help out. So I'm going to be tied up for the next 3 weeks. I'm sorry I haven't been putting out videos. That's why I actually like this live stream thing that I've been doing with the surprise streams, because I'm still kind of getting a video out once a week. You guys can still get to see and ask questions, and actually I'm covering whatever topics you want. And plus, I'm going to keep my weekly live stream up. Next week, it probably will be on Sunday like normal, but I've been very busy. Another thing is, I just came out on a radio show from TNT Radio. I'll be posting the link in the community tab as a guest about retired life in Mexico or living in Mexico. It was a short interview. It was on live radio, but there's a replay that I'll post a link. Other than that, everything is going great. Just thought I'd let you know that's why I'm doing the live stream on Saturday and not on Sunday. I try to keep consistent with the live streams. The surprise streams are going to be whenever they come up. But hopefully, we're going to be going to some of these little towns, And what I'm noticing is that these little towns may not have internet service. I don't know what's going on with the chat, but the chat widget is still doing what it was this last time. People's stuff is disappearing. And I actually set it up to where it wasn't supposed to disappear. Hopefully I can get the chat widget working. The problem is I'm probably going to have to do some test streams and see what's going on. Um, um, uh, I'm going to have to see what's going on and why the comments are disappearing instead of keep going up like the last time I had them. So you're just going to have to deal with the comments coming out on the bottom. So basically, that's where we're at. Let me see how many people we have. Let's let a couple more people get in. I wanted to cover something real quick. Hold on, let me get a drink of water real quick. And I wanted to address this for two reasons. I actually went to look for the comment, but I actually wanted to address this. The actual person that commented this event apparently deleted the comment because I didn't delete it. I want to make sure that everybody knows that because I didn't get offended by the comment. As a matter of fact, I used this comment to kind of bring up some points that I always bring up with moving to Mexico. And I thought this would be a great time to do that. A lot of the things that I bring up about Mexico. On my last surprise live stream, as you know, I went to a restaurant. And the other reason why I want to let everybody know is because you may not be aware of what preparation goes into these videos. I do come out surprising everybody and I do come out live. But this last live, I went to a restaurant. And of course, this is a public place. I also went to a Starbucks the other day. And the comment that I got was a very stern comment that basically said that I was being rude, how rude it is of me, that there's privacy concerns because there was individuals there at the restaurant and I'm filming individuals. And also there was several comment and basically it kind of scolded me saying that, if I was there, I wouldn't have put up with that. And then I don't remember the exact thing, but they said, there was people looking around all weird at me because I was live, and asked me if I had gotten consent of the person at the restaurant. There was also an incident at the very end because I told them, not at the end, but at one point I told everybody, can I please, I need the menu so I could get the prices. My wife yelled over my voice and said, "Joven," which is a form of respect here in Mexico when you're calling a waiter, or you say caballero, depending on the age of the waiter. And then I was trying to get the waiter's attention. The individuals next to me started whistling because the waiter wasn't responding. And then I think I said joven also, and I called the waiter over. And they were saying that it was rude for me to be yelling and whistling over everybody. Now, I want to explain something here. And this is a perfect example of when we talk to being in a different culture here in Mexico. First of all, I want to make clear that when I go to a public place, I do take into consideration people's privacy. If anybody comes up to me and says, quit filming, I don't feel comfortable, I'll quit filming, I'll delete the video. Also, in restaurant situations, I do get consent from the restaurant owner. They were fully aware that I was there, even though it looks like I was walking up and everything else. So that's one thing that I do. The other thing that I did notice, I think the person exaggerated a little bit. I think the person exaggerated a little bit that people were looking weird because I looked at the video. I was taking up most of the screen, to be honest with you. And when I was showing you the view, I don't think really too many people came out in that video and nobody was looking weird. I think they were just, I don't know for what reason. I always get every once in a while either someone trying to prove me wrong or somehow criticize the video. I don't know if it just makes them feel better or what. But what I want everybody, I figured, you know what, I'm going to use this as a lesson because I don't get offended by these kinds of comments. But, and I also take them very seriously because if it is something that I'm doing wrong, I need to know so that I can correct it. But one of the things that people need to understand when you're in Mexico, I don't know if anybody's ever heard the saying, Dorothy, you're not in Kansas anymore. Or that's kind of a saying that you're basically saying that you're in Mexico, you're not in the United States, you're not back in your country. What you may think is rude may not be rude in Mexico. As a matter of fact, joven is a very common, as a matter of fact, joven, calling the waiter joven is a sign of respect. And those individuals that were whistling were actually Mexicans. They weren't Americans. It wasn't me whistling. It was actually Mexicans that were sitting next to us. You'll see that usually amongst the older Mexican population. They'll usually whistle at the waiter. That's very common. The waiter was not offended. the other thing you need to understand too is that waiters here in the United States, and I think, as a matter of fact, Denise brought this up, and I'm gonna bring Denise's comment up. Is that yes, joven is a very common for signaling raiders, but I'm also going to explain to you that in the United States, I'm only used to the United States. I don't know how it is in Canada, but in the United States, we're very used to the waiter coming over, checking on us, asking if everything is fine, and coming back several times while we're eating. In Mexico, it's very common for the waiter to come only 3 times to your table. The first time, or they can come to your table many other times too if you call them. But the first time they come, to take your order. The second time they come, to deliver your food. And the third time they come is to bring the check. And then usually they'll bring a terminal or you pay them. But normally those are the only 3 times a waiter will actually come to your table. Now, if you call them over, you want another drink, that's also common. They'll come over. But in here, you may think that that's rude. That's rude that the waiter's not giving you service, but that's normal here. Okay. And that's what I'm trying to bring about. Calling someone or yelling over, or you might notice, like, for example, in the restaurant, we've gone to a lot of restaurants. The Mexican people will be yelling and screaming and happy birthday and ha, 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 and very loud. And I've seen this on Facebook groups with people complaining that they had no consideration for the other customers in the restaurant. But see, that's common that happens here. It's very common here. So you need to understand that when you come to there's another saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. You need to understand that you're in a different country with different customs. And this is something that I think is very important. I'm not trying to criticize, I see on Facebook groups, these people that complain. I also do not condone the responses, because they'll say, oh, you're just a Karen, or you're just a whiner, or self-entitled. No, it's not a matter of being self-entitled, and it's not a matter of being a Karen. It's a matter of not understanding the culture. If you understand the culture, then you won't get affected or offended. Because, for example, you have to understand that you're in a different country and things don't work the same way as they do. I was also, it's funny because, here, like I said, saying joven is a very common thing. Joven, to come over for a waiter. Also, when we speak to the construction workers, if he's an older man, we'll usually say Don Juan or Don Pedro or Don or Señor. You always treat the person with respect. So not only that, but people here are very much into titles. Okay, so you'll hear stuff like licenciado, licenciada. Those are titles. Ingeniero. Like, for example, me, if I used my title, I'd be ingeniero because I went to college and I studied computer science. And so those are the things that you need to understand. Also, there's a very big, and the other reason why I wanted to bring this up is, for example, immigration facilitators. Everybody calls a facilitator a lawyer. Not all immigration facilitators are lawyers. Some are and some aren't. Just because they have the LIC or licenciada in front of their name does not mean that they're a lawyer. It may mean they can be an accountant. Licenciada is a title given to a person that goes to college and studies a certain career, just the same as doctor. You'll hear also profesor will be a title for a professor. Maestro or maestro. Also the supervisor that supervises your construction is a maestro. You use these titles here in Mexico. It's very common. So reaching out to saying someone, caballero, joven, it's not, although it sounds rude, and you may see it as rude, and it may even be rude in the United States. To do that in an IHOP or a Chili's, it's not rude to do it here. So you need to really understand the culture. And the reason why I bring this up is because The biggest reason why I bring this up is because when I talk about individuals or the 50% that don't go, that end up going back home, those are the 50% that don't want to understand the culture. Those are the 50% that you see in the Facebook groups complaining about the loud party. I'll give you an example. My neighborhood, every year, maybe once a year, my neighbors have a loud, humongous party with loud loudspeakers and everything else. We don't complain, but at the same time, if I have a party that's really super loud, uh, they're not going to complain either. They don't call it. You don't call the cops here in Mexico when somebody's next door being too loud, like you do in the United States. That just doesn't happen. The cops won't come to your house unless it's an emergency. They don't come to your house to to shut the people up next door. Um, Other than living in a private community, maybe sometimes in the private communities they have rules after 11 o'clock or after 12 o'clock, and the guard will go out there. But these are the things that I hear people complaining about, but at the same time, these are the things that are normal in Mexico. And those are the things that you're going to have to get used to if you want to come and live in Mexico. Um, so I just thought I'd just use that as an example. And I'm not trying to call that person out. They apparently, after I wrote a long, uh, a long, whatchamacallit, reply, and telling them that, hey, look, everybody's privacy and everybody gets a chance to tell me to stop. And, as a matter of fact, it was a form of respect. The people next to me were whistling, were the ones that were whistling. They're Mexican. I explained the whole thing and apparently the comment's gone now. So I don't know if they realize that, oh, I'm wrong, or, oh, I didn't get my way in making you look bad. I have no idea. And I get these comments every once in a while, and I'm just trying to help people out. And I do get every once in a while people trying to, somebody, I think the other one about the car, can I, on my tip says, what about siblings? Can they do? And I said, unfortunately not. It's got to be a mother or father, son or a daughter. I've lived on the southwest border for close to all my life, and I know that that's all they accept. They don't accept siblings. Well, apparently a couple of websites say siblings. So I said, unfortunately not. They put unfortunately yes, ha ha ha. And you know what? I don't delete those comments because I like you guys to see them because I'm transparent. And I went back and said, hey, here's the tip regulations. Yeah, it does say siblings at one point, or brother or sister, but in the actual requirements for the documents. And as far as I know, and if you can show me or you can prove to me that there's a port that accepts it, then go for it. I have no problem with that. So and then also I did say that someone also I had made a comment that I was my sister-in-law has a friend that what you might call it does importations of import export broker, and and I'm in the process of getting a hold of them. The problem is that my sister-in-law only has her personal information, not her business information. So I'm not going to post their personal information here. And I'm trying to find out what kind of import-export business and what they actually do, if they do cars, if not. So I have a message out to them. Um, and so now let's see, let's get over here. Oh wow! Well, Michael, no, I haven't seen the peso and the apex. I've been pretty busy lately, uh, and if you could uh, explain a little bit more, Michael, I hadn't seen that yet. And let me see here. We let me. Oh wow! Mexico Venture was saying that there was a shooting in the area, in his area. Let me see here. I'm just going over a couple of comments here. Just see. Yeah. Everybody. Mexico Venture also was saying, yes, you call it exactly the way it was in Italy too. You must call the waiter for anything that you need. Um, and like I said, a lot of people see that as rude on the waiter's part, or I'm not going to give the waiter a tip because they didn't come back and ask me if I wanted a refill. Um, those are things that are very different in Mexico than they are in the United States. So you need to understand that things have changed. Long story short, Michael, long story short, they both are tackling to fight against fentanyl, as well as the U.S. to open the asylum hubs in Colombia and Guatemala. Yeah, that'll help a lot. And I know that's very good news that number one, they're going to fight against fentanyl together, because I've seen the problem with the fentanyl fight, the fight that I've seen coming from the U.S. is that a lot of radical politicians have said, we're going to send the military in and we're going to bomb the fentanyl labs and all sorts of stuff. And, to be honest with you, it's all political rhetoric. I hate to say it, but it's something that the United States would get in a lot of trouble with the whole rest of the world if they did stuff like that. And most of the military, you know, uh, I was involved in a lot of helping other countries with the drug wars and everything else. We had offices here in Mexico City that work closely, and actually we have several offices. My former agency had several offices here in Mexico. Uh, there's a lot that is done behind the scenes that's cooperative efforts between the U.S. and Mexico in the fight against drugs. How much of a impact that makes, I have no idea, but we do work together. It's not a secret, um, and that cooperation still goes on. And politicians choose to use this. Let's send the military and bomb everybody, and it's not going to work. Um, Let me see. Blaine Doris is asking, hello, Ernie. Do you know of any rules bringing in cash from Canada into Mexico of 2 million pesos other than declaring and being able to show where it came from? Would there be taxes? Actually, Blaine, there's no taxes, but you do need to declare, just like you need to declare in the United States. When you walk into the United States, if you have more than $10,000 on you, you need to declare it. It's the same thing here in Mexico. If they catch you not declaring it, then they can take it away. Um, so, you know, that's basically you have to declare. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the same. I don't remember the amount, but I believe it's the equivalent of 10,000 US dollars also. Or um, let me see here, Blaine, temporary resident status. Oh, I don't know if you were saying if I have temporary resident status. Yeah. Okay. And then I think Michael was saying that ironically, both U.S. and Mexico had talks with China. China supplied the cartels with the needed chemical. Yes, they do. Our politicians are stupid for warmongering. Yeah, well, it's just political rhetoric. It will never happen. And if it does happen, the United States would be in a lot of trouble on the world stage. There's a lot to the diplomatic processes that happen. Uh, when, you know, like I said, even when we talk about the immigration issues, um, everybody talks a big talk, but nobody walks the walk when it comes in Congress, especially. Um, no matter what side, I even tell people, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, nobody really walks the walk when it comes down to doing anything about it. Um, whether you're for letting everybody in, or or kicking everybody out. Mexico Venture says, Blaine, best is to carry but declare and prove where you got it from. Yes, that's the best thing. But I'll tell you what, with these declarations, because being a lot of this stuff, like declaring money, declaring goods, it's pretty much the same thing when you go to the United States. They'll ask you if you have anything to declare. There's certain things that you have to declare, such as cash. Actually, in the United States, you have to declare it going outbound. Um, Let me get this my shirt a little bit straighter. But you have to declare the money going outbound also. Um, Now, um, as far as showing where it came from, yeah, that would be a great idea. The actual law says that you just need to declare it, but showing where it came from is a good practice, because you don't want someone saying, "Oh, well, we're just going to decide that it's illegal and we'll take it, and then you can prove later on." That's what happens a lot of times. As a matter of fact, I was watching I don't remember, it was a report about somebody posted somewhere in a group I'm in about how drug interdiction agents go to the airport and they check people's luggage and they take a bunch of money from people that they're carrying and ask them if they can prove it. And then they take the money and say, okay, you need to prove it's not illegal. Uh, and that's what you just want to. There's a little bit more to that kind of stuff that I really. It has nothing to do with Mexico, so I'm not going to go into it. But one of the things that I always tell people is, okay, have proof of where it came from, because if anybody, even if they take it, you know that you're going to get it back because you prove where it came from. Blaine, oh, I was asking if there's any different rules of being a temporary resident versus a visitor in Mexico. Love your lives, by the way. That are great. Actually, Blaine, those laws are for everybody. Even if you're a Mexican citizen, uh, you have to declare money coming in. You have to actually even declaring goods coming in. You have to declare your what you're bringing in. Now there may be some different rules, a little bit. No, actually, not really. They're mostly pretty much the same. Uh, on a land border, it's anything $300. You can bring up to $300 of goods and value. Um, and then also, um, let me see, on the land border, it's $300. If you're flying in, you can bring up to $500. And then um, if you're traveling with somebody, um, you can actually aggregate that amount. So, like, let's say you're traveling with your wife. So let's say you're flying in, it's $1,000 worth of stuff, uh, and that's those rules are pretty much for everybody. And Susie Q, now, why would you be taking 160K Canadian cash with you? I do know that some people. Here's the thing. I know it just from working in the U.S. and running into these kinds of cases. I know that people like to they don't trust banks, they don't trust wire transfers, those types of things. That's not uncommon, believe it or not. Um, it is now. I would suggest anybody that they should try to transfer it and not actually bring it. If you're a temporary resident, you should be able to get a bank account and transfer the money through a legitimate service. Um, but I do know some people actually will bring the cash in. Also, I do know, and here's something that you need to understand about Mexico. Mexico, cash is king. So, for example, let's say I want to buy a house. Most of the time, I have been asked for the down payment in cash. So I'll go to the bank and withdraw it in cash and give it to the builder. Um, and also, there might be some banking regulations. I know that even in the United States, when I wired the money for my property in Monterrey, the bank had questions. I got a telephone call. What's this? And the ironic thing is, the bank is like, look at who deposited the. I mean, it shows who deposited the funds. Well, what's the source of the funds? Title company. I sold the house. But some I don't know how Canada is, but I will tell you that some people don't like to wire large amounts of money because they could be put on the radar for whatever. I mean, you can be placed on the radar for taxes or something like that. So there's a lot of people that will bring, and actually, you'll see that a lot of Mexicans will, a lot of people that come, legal immigrants that work in the United States, will actually bring back cash and they'll hide it on their body and they won't declare it. Actually, because there's this thing about hiding it from, the authorities, because the authorities are going to take it from you with that idea. So I've come into many instances where U.S. Customs and Border Protection would seize 15, 20, $30,000 off of an individual that's just coming home. And it was because they didn't declare it going outbound. I don't know about what Mexican customs, I don't know the statistics on Mexican customs seizing stuff. Lambden, are you in San Miguel de Allende at the moment, Ernie? Yes, I am, Lambden. I'm in San Miguel de Allende. We decided that we were going to make this our home base, and I haven't gone back to Monterrey yet. So, and we don't plan to go back to Monterrey for a while, probably until our doctor's appointments and everything else. So I am in San Miguel de Allende right now. That's where I'm doing all my filming from, all the places that I've been filming from. Let me see here. Hold on just one second. Hold on, I forgot to unmute my microphone. Yes, Lambden, it's really pretty here. Lambden said, "Que bonito," and actually, I'll tell you what, Lambden, that's the reason why we were going to sell our house here. We actually put it on the market. It's no secret. I think I even posted it in the Facebook group. But we got back here and we just found this is our home. This is what feels like home. We love the city. We are still have the house in Monterrey that we will be using for. I mean, we still need to go back there. We have family there, and also not only that, but medical, and also it's in close proximity to the border. So if we need to run to the border for, to buy stuff or whatever we need or our mail, we can still go. But we decided to make San Miguel our home. And Leticia, saludos. Leticia, thank you for joining us. And Lambden, I saw the love, Ernie. That's awesome. Yeah, we love it here. And we are so glad. We were kind of being impatient that the house wasn't moving, but to be honest with you, we're so glad it didn't move. Because when we got back here, we were like, why are we selling the house again? And we finally just said, well, actually, it didn't even take us a couple of days. And we called the realtor and said, we're not going to sell the house. And actually, the realtor said, I have someone that's coming by to see the house. And we were like, we just got back and we decided, no, we're not going to sell it. And feliz de escucharte. Thank you, Leticia. It's a pleasure that I'm able to do this. I do feel honored that I can. Ernie, a few days ago, I drove my Tahoe to Irapuato to get my chip sticker. Got gas at the Shell in Guanajuato City. Don't go back route. San Miguel to Irapuato. Go to GTO City, then down. Shell scam. Oh, you know what? Mexico Adventure brings up I don't know how you got scammed, Mexico Adventure, exactly, but I will tell you that there's a lot of scams that go on at gas stations here. Shell manager walked up and asked for the signed credit card receipt. Yeah, there's a lot of gas scams that go on here. Sometimes when they say you're getting a liter, sometimes they're not regulated. In certain places, it's very regulated. They actually even go and inspect the pumps to make sure that they're pumping out. Uh, but sometimes you're not getting a full liter of gas, or there have even been issues where some of the gas stations will mix water in with the gas to make more gas, to be able to make more money. Also, another big one is you always want to keep an eye on and actually most gas attendants are good at this. Uh, and the most gas attendants are really good at this, but they'll point to the meter and say, "Can I start pumping? It's at zero," because sometimes the gas pump doesn't start at zero; it'll start at 100 extra pesos. Um, and okay, the attendant already handed the receipt to the manager before she asked aloud for it. And you saw the handoff. Yeah, and also there's when you give your credit card, don't let them walk away with the machine. Make sure they do everything in front of you. Um, so there's a lot of gas stations scams that go on here. Um, but as long as you're very alert, you should be fine. Actually, there's a gas station down the street that just opened up, and they have this little measuring device, and you can ask them to pour a liter of gas into the measuring device so they can show you that you're getting an actual liter of gas. That's the first time I've seen it ever in Mexico. But the reason why they have that is because a lot of gas stations, the pumps aren't accurate. And Suzy Q, I want to open BBVA account, but they want to charge me $120 for a 10K life insurance policy, make 35 non-smoker, or they won't open my account. I'm in La Paz looking for options. Um, BBVA is it there? Are they requiring the life insurance policy to open the account? Um, that's kind of I opened an account. I have an account with BBVA. Now I don't know. They might be different down there. Now I do know that some will tell you they want a minimum $4,000 deposit maintained in the account, or else they'll charge you bank fees. But $120 a month, 36-month contract. That's kind of weird. Uh, I would I would look for another bank, but I'm not aware of that with BBVA. That's weird. Oh, the attendant printed off a second receipt and asked me to sign it. And you said that they'll sign. Yeah, well, that's probably what they would have done. Hey, Ray, welcome. I'm actually from Texas. Well, not born in Texas, but I was raised in Texas. So let me see here. Anybody else with anything else here? Let me see here. Let me go over the comments here. Oh, you filmed the gas attendant. Yeah. Well, you know what? You have to be very careful with credit cards too. I even had one instance where they took my credit card in, and it was I, you just want to make sure that they stay in your site when they're doing any kind of credit card transactions or anything else like that. Um, so, and let me see here. Anybody have any more questions or anything else? Any comments? If not, I'll sign off. Let me get a drink of water real quick. Um, so I guess what we'll do is we'll just call it a night tonight. Um, I did notice a couple of more people came in, and I'll give you a chance if you need to ask anything or want to make any comments. But like I said, for the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be pretty busy. And thank you guys for coming. I'm going to try to get to some videos. I really am, but I don't know why, but I'm like 10 times more busy here in San Miguel de Allende than I was in Monterrey. And I was building a house in Monterrey. And for some reason, I guess that uh, it's just I have a lot more stuff going on here, um, and so that's why I'm not getting to as many videos. That's I'm trying to cover this, like I said, on these weekly live streams. If you really need information, I'm still doing my private consultations if you need them, and but I limit them to Sundays, and also I'm trying to get out and do these surprise live streams. Like I told you guys, I don't make a living off of this. I don't make any money off of this. Like I said, I think I make a whole total of $50 a month, and my expenses far exceed the $50 a month and I don't even get paid every month. Um, and let me see here. Ray's got something before we leave here. Planning to retire in 2025 with about 3K monthly. Would that suffice for us for upper middle class lifestyle? Yes, Ray. Actually, it would. I'll be honest with you. One of the secrets to making a good 3K monthly income go a far way, a long way, is to own your own home here. Like I said, I don't pay rent. My property taxes are $300 a year, not a month, a year. So my property taxes are about $300 a year. Not only that, but my electric bill, because I'm here in San Miguel de Allende, it's a little bit different in Monterrey, but here in San Miguel de Allende, I'm looking at anywhere from $25 to $50 a month. Um, my water bill runs about 10 to $15. Actually, the last water bill was only 9 pesos, because we had just gotten here. The gas, we fill up with gas. We have a propane gas tank that lasts for a month, and we spend maybe 500 pesos for not even a month. It's the last 2 to 3 months. And so $3,000 is a good amount of income if you don't owe anything. If you own your own car, if you buy a car here, um, and the housing is uh, actually talk about housing affordability. Uh, Here in San Miguel, a lot of people will tell you that it's the most expensive place in Mexico, but we were looking at some statistics right now, and the top four places, expensive places in Latin America or in to live in are Montevideo, and then it's I think it's Monterrey, Guadalajara, and Mexico City. I don't know exactly in what order, but those are very expensive places to live in. You can get a house here for anywhere from 2 million pesos, which is probably and I'm talking about, well, actually, they're more like 3 million now, but depending in some of these neighborhoods, small house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bedroom houses, and they can go upwards so you're looking at anywhere from about 150 to three 400 for a house here, depending on where you want to live. So you know, just it all depends on but you can live a good lifestyle. The only thing I would concentrate on right now, Ray, is how your legal status. 3,000 by 2025, um, unless its exterior relations changes something, the financial requirements even for temporary residency may be way over 3,000. I don't see it going. Something's got to give. I really do think uh, something does have to give, and maybe they might start using the UMA formula like immigration, hopefully. But and if you have, I know a lot of people here that are Hispanic have, parents that came from Mexico and stuff. Work on your dual citizenship if you don't already have it, if that's an option, or even work on your residency now that you qualify, that you may be even working, and that way you could financially qualify. Those are the things that I would start doing, even though you're planning to retire in 2025, because 3,000 it'll get you a decent living here, but you also have to remember that you also have to meet the requirements to get the residency, or be a dual national, or married to a Mexican national. That's another way of not having to qualify, and the regularization program by then will probably be gone. And yes, but I plan to hop around various cities first and find the right place to settle in. Ray, you're going to find, I can tell you right now, in every city you go to in Mexico, you can find something that's going to fit your budget. It just depends. If you go to Monterrey, can you live an upper class lifestyle in Monterrey at $3,000 a month, upper middle class? Yes, you can. Um, I, I, I have a house in Monterrey also. So, but my house in Monterrey is a lot smaller than the house that I have here, and it was the same amount, or even, well, they're probably worth the same amount of money. The amount of house that I have in Monterrey compared to the amount of house that I have here is different, but they cost the same amount of money. So you can find, wherever you go, something within your price range to buy a house or to rent. I'm not even talking about buying a house. I know you said jumping around. You can find different rental, but also, like I ever tell everybody, just remember your expectations. What you can rent here in San Miguel, and I'm just going to use San Miguel, for $800, you're not going to be able to get the same kind of rent or the same kind of place for the same $800 in Mexico City, or maybe Monterrey, or Guadalajara. At the same time, you may be able to get a nice little room here if you're by yourself for $500. You might not be able to do that in Merida. Merida's getting more expensive now. Or maybe you might be able to find the same $800 apartment in Merida, but you don't realize that you have to pay $300 a month in electric, or $200 a month in electric, because you're running the air conditioner every day. So it all depends. You can pretty much, and actually Mexico Adventure just says, if you make 30,000 US dollars a year in Mexico, you're at the top 1% of the earners here. Yes, I would have to agree with Mexico Adventure, but at the same time, one of the things that you need to understand, and being the top 1%, you got to be careful with that kind of comment. As a matter of fact, I'll give you an example. And I'm not trying to put him down or anything. Kuru Paul started making some videos. I think he's trying to get his last 200 subscribers to get his YouTube button. So I know he's not living here anymore, but he did a video about, can you live here on Social Security? And what he did was he took some averages of what a doctor makes, what a nurse makes, and basically tried to say, well, if a nurse makes this much money, if an average nurse, or and then of course he used a doctor that works for IMSS, which is the public healthcare system. So he was trying to say that a doctor makes $20,000 a year and a nurse makes $20,000 a year. So if you make $20,000 a year on your Social Security, you're going to live like a doctor or a nurse, kind of inferring that. And that's not true, because you also have to understand that, for example, my in-laws live on a pension. They live on less than $1,800 a month. They own their house. They own their car. We help out financially. The family helps out. It's not uncommon for families to live together. It's not uncommon for the kids to live with their parents. It's not uncommon for two families to be living in the same, not two families, but the parents and the son and the daughter-in-law living in the same house because they can't afford. And I understand it's government statistics, Mexico Adventure, but um, that we have to be careful because of the lower salaries, people get by in a different way. So it's kind of an artificial thing to say, well, if you make $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year, yes, you're going to be in the top 2% of earners, but at the same time, does that mean that you can live on that 24, or what is that $24,000 a year going to get you? Um, I'll give you an example here in Monterrey. There's We live in a neighborhood with the professionals. Both of them work. Um, at the same time, yes, there's individuals. I'll give you an example. My brother-in-law is a director of cybersecurity at a company, and he makes over six figures. So there's a big disparity in incomes here, and you have to be very careful. Uh, but at the same time, like I said, Ray, everything, any budget you can find something that'll fit your budget no matter where you go. It just that in one place, that $3,000 may get you a certain amount of, I don't want to say stuff, but a certain standard of living, whereas in another area, it may not give you that same standard of living. But it's up to you, because if you fall in love with a place that's a little bit more expensive, $3,000 is going to be more than enough. Uh, and even The only thing that I would be careful with in some of the bigger cities is rent, because in Monterrey right now, rent will run you what you could rent here. Let's say here for, I'm going to give you an example, 30,000 pesos, 35,000 pesos, which is almost more than $1,000 a month, is only going to get you, you can rent a house here for that, 30,000 pesos, 35,000, a big house. Actually, my house would rent for probably 40, between 35 and 40. And you could get a big house um, for that. Now, what could you get in Monterrey? Probably an apartment. So, what could you get in Guadalajara? Probably an apartment in a high rise that's just two bedrooms. So, it's a matter of, like I tell everybody, it's a matter of your expectations and what you're willing. There's a lot of people that come here on $1,500 a month. They get their residency. Some got their residency through, and they live here in San Miguel. And I know several in San Miguel de Allende that live here very comfortably. And I mean by comfortably, I'm not talking about $1,500 a month comfortably like in a nice big house. No, I mean comfortably in the sense that I don't need that. I don't need a three-bedroom house. I don't need a two-bedroom house. All I need is a room. Uh, I go to the center all the time. I walk everywhere. I don't need a car. I live a minimalistic lifestyle, and I'm happier that way. And I think what's the most important part is being happy. What makes you happy? Where you're going to be happy. Just exactly like what happened to us here in San Miguel de Allende. We found ourselves more happy here in San Miguel de Allende than we would find ourselves living the rest of our lives in Monterrey. Not that Monterrey is a bad place, but you need to find your place and where you want to be. But you'll be able to find. And Denise is saying right here, $3,000 in Merida is good if you own your home. As a renter, though, the rents are going up like crazy there. Actually, Merida is becoming very, very expensive. Merida used to be kind of like the best kept secret type of place, but the more best kept secret, it no longer becomes a secret. The same happened in Costa Rica. Costa Rica used to be dirt cheap to live in. People would run down to Costa Rica. And now Costa Rica is one of the most expensive places in Latin America to live in. And if you really want to live cheap in Costa Rica, you have to live out in the middle of nowhere. So it just all depends. But it all depends also if you rent, like Denise said. Oh, hey, Wilfredo, great to see you. We're almost signing off here. Actually, I'm gonna hit an hour for the first time. Uh, so uh, I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm sorry that you came in late, Wilfredo, and I'll give you 2 or 3 more minutes to say hello, everybody, to everybody. But uh, anytime that you need anything, just let me know. Like I said, I'm transparent. I don't make any money off of this. I don't have any financial interest in this. Uh, and I don't. I'm very transparent, and I hope that uh, my little lesson today uh, kind of marinates with you. I don't like to use people as an example, uh, but I think we just do need to learn that when it comes to the culture, that you're in a different place, uh, and I don't know, you're not gonna bring your country with you. You're gonna bring yourself to another country, I guess I might say. So you need to be very aware that there's a lot of differences in the culture, and what you think may be rude may not be rude. And actually, believe it or not, I've seen things on Facebook where an individual will get mad because apparently they expected customer service or something happened. And actually, believe it or not, making a scene or going and complaining about the people next door, that's actually seen rude by the Mexican people. So what you think may be rude because you were raised a certain way doesn't necessarily make it rude here in Mexico. And what you may think is normal here in your country, which is normal in your country, may not be normal here in Mexico. So you need to be very careful. Um, as a matter of fact, you can actually end up insulting Mexicans by the way you act or by what you say. Um, I don't know why, but Jordan has lived here for 5 or 6 years and he still doesn't get it with Tangerine Travel. I mean, doing a video about taco laws. As a matter of fact, do you know where they got that video from? It was in an expat group in Querétaro that posted it as a joke. And these guys are actually coming out and telling people that these are the taco laws. Some parts of Mexico, they don't eat tacos. They don't eat tacos in all of Mexico. There's the food varies in different parts of Mexico. And actually, that video was an insult to the Mexican people. Some of the videos that Tangerine Travels has done about if a woman walks on the side of the street, they may be for sale. That's an insult to the Mexican people. Doing a sex motel video, that's an insult to the Mexican people. I know why he's doing it. It's reality TV. For some reason, today's society is hooked on the reality TV, hooked on controversy. That's the way he makes his money. But you need to understand when you see these types of videos or you see these types of behavior, that's not that's not all the, it's not always right. You know what I'm saying? So you respect the culture. That's all I'm saying. And understand that, if you're in Mexico, you're not in Kansas anymore. And when you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. I guess that's the best uh, piece of advice. Oh, Mexico, we rent. Landlord wants to charge SMA prices now, all of a sudden. Well, I think that's happening everywhere. Rents are going up. And they're looking for, and actually, even rents are going up here in San Miguel. All righty. Well, like I said, we'll see you soon. Hopefully, I can bring you along with our little project. Like I said, I'm all about helping the community, not just the community, the expat community, but the community that has given me the privilege of living in such a wonderful country. I'm thankful to Mexico, and I need to show Mexico my thanks. So I'm not only working for you guys, I'm here to give back to the Mexican community also, because I think that's just as important. And the other thing that I want to make clear with this new project, hopefully with this video, is to show you guys that there's a lot of things you can do here in Mexico. It's not, like, hey, what am I going to do in Mexico? Because I don't have any activity. I'm going to show you an activity. We're going to go out with nurses from Canada and see the local communities. And there's if you want to rescue pets here, there's groups that rescue dogs. The Mexico has a big dog problem here, or stray dog problem here. There's whole groups that rescue dogs. There's groups here in San Miguel de Allende. I'm just talking about San Miguel de Allende that have run a food bank. They're the Rotary Club. The Rotary Club is very big here in San Miguel de Allende, and the Rotary Club dedicates themselves to helping the communities. They've done all sorts of projects to help the community. So, you know what? There's plenty to do. And not only can you do that, but you can get involved in the culture. You can also you can give classes here. There's individuals. I'll leave you with this. We went to Ajijic. We met a man that was painting a mural on the wall. The guy's supposedly famous in Ajijic for his murals that he paints on the walls in Ajijic. It just so happens that this guy that was an artist, I think I even in my video I featured him. He actually, when he was a kid, learned how to paint. There was a Canadian artist that retired and went to Ajijic and dedicated her life to teaching the local people how to paint. And he was one of those children when she's since passed away, that learned how to paint. And now he paints on the walls in Ajijic murals. And he does beautiful murals, and he's actually famous. And he's actually, I even think he's even has some famous artwork that he's done throughout Mexico. And that was all because an individual from Canada decided that she was going to take a group of kids and teach them how to paint. So, you might think, oh, what can I offer? There's a lot you can offer here in Mexico. So, thank you. Everybody's telling me that they're enjoying my live streams, and thank you very much about the pop-up live streams. And I do know that it's very hard, but like I said, I think the goal of my pop-up live streams is you can join in, you can participate, but at the same time, oh, wow. See, he did the wall of skulls on our school. He is very good. And I think we're talking about the same painter. Yes, CMT 63. Ephraim Gonzalez, yes, that's the guy that we met. I believe that's the guy that we met, but he's very popular there in Ajijic as a painter. We just saw him painting the mural, and while we were walking, we said, "Hey," and we started talking to him, and I actually interviewed him. But and I think he also did a mural in the community center in Ajijic, if that's the same one, CMT 63. So he actually did a mural in the community center there. So we'll see you until next time, and hopefully these live streams will keep going. I am also participating in doing a couple of live streams of some local in a different channel. I think I posted it on my this week. This month I'm not gonna do it. We're trying to perfect it a little bit, but I helped out with a blues artist that was here in San Miguel, that came here to San Miguel, and that was one of the life stuff that I've been very busy with. So before we get into more, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. And like I always stay safe, stay informed. And until next time, we'll see you soon.